The night air was thick with tension, the kind that makes your skin prickle and your pulse pound before you even know why. A cold wind swept through the pines, surrounding a lonely stretch of highway somewhere outside Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The headlights of a battered prison transport bus cut through the mist, its steel frame rattling as it wound down the deserted road. Inside, 6 prisoners sat in tense silence, shackled and watched by 2 correctional officers who were already counting the hours till morning. They had no idea that within minutes this night would turn into something out of a nightmare. If you read just tuning in, this is a story you won't want to miss. Because when these 6 men escape and take the wrong hostage, they learn a brutal lesson about power, fear, and payback. Then, before he could react, the other car swerved hard, smashing into the side of the bus. Metal screamed. Tires burst. The prison transport flipped twice before landing on its side in a ditch. The air filled with smoke, gas, and screams. The guards groaned, bloodied but alive. Tyrell came to first. Shackles still on, his vision blurry, he looked around at the chaos, and then he saw it. A guard's keyring, half crushed under debris, just inches from his hand. He grabbed it. Minutes later, as sirens echoed faintly in the distance, 6 men crawled from the wreckage. Shackles clanged to the ground one by one. Tyrell looked back at the burning bus. "We move," he growled. "No one's coming to save us." They vanished into the forest. By dawn, every news station from Raleigh to D.C. was reporting it. 6 dangerous fugitives escaped custody after a violent transport crash. The U.S. Marshal Service launched a multi-state manhunt. But while cops scoured the highways, the fugitives hiked deep into the Appalachian foothills, cold, starving, and desperate. 3 days later, hunger had turned their escape into misery. Mick's lips were cracked. "We can't keep running like this," he said, voice hoarse. "We need food, water, and a car." Tyrell's dark eyes swept the trees. "Then we find one." They stumbled upon a narrow country road winding through dense forest. After hours of waiting in silence, they saw it. A black Jeep Wrangler rolling toward them, windows down, music faintly audible. Behind the wheel was a woman, mid-30s, athletic build, sharp eyes hidden behind aviator sunglasses. She looked like someone who could handle herself, but in their eyes she looked like opportunity. "Perfect," Mick murmured. "Shut it," Mick barked, shoving her toward the Jeep. "Keys, now." She handed them over without protest. Tyrell climbed behind the wheel. 2 others piled in the back, and Mick forced her into the passenger seat. As they drove, she watched them quietly, saying nothing, only observing. Her eyes moved like a sniper's scope, precise, calculating, taking in details. Tyrell's dominant hand. Mick's limp, the youngest convict's trembling knee. She didn't ask where they were going. She already knew they didn't have a plan. "Name?" Tyrell asked after a while. "Claire," she said. "No," she said. "Just saying you're sloppy," Tyrell barked. "Enough." He was pacing, restless. "We'll lay low here till dark, then we'd move north. Maybe steal another car near the highway?" Mick leaned against the doorframe. "And her?" Tyrell's jaw clenched. "She's leverage. Cops catch up. We trade her life for time." The room fell silent. Claire's gaze stayed on Tyrell, unflinching. "You're making a mistake," she said softly. Tyrell sneered. "Lady, I've been making mistakes since I was 10. One more won't kill me." She tilted her head slightly, eyes cold now. "You sure about that?" Night fell. The forest outside came alive with crickets and distant thunder. Inside the cabin, the fugitives argued in whispers about food and routes. Claire sat in the corner, wrists still bound, but her posture was relaxed, too relaxed for a hostage. When Mick passed by her, she spoke quietly. "You served, didn't you?" He hesitated. "What makes you say that?" "Your stance." "The way you handle that gun, you've been trained," he frowned. "You military?" Claire smiled faintly. "Something like that." He walked off, uneasy. Hours later, while the others slept, Claire moved. With subtle precision, she flexed her wrists, twisted once, twice, and the rope slipped free. She scanned the room. 6 men. 2 pistols on the table, 1 knife tucked in Tyrell's boot. She could take them. She could end it now. But something in her gut told her to wait. She crept outside into the humid darkness. Crickets chirped. The moon glowed faintly through clouds. From her pocket, she pulled a small GPS beacon, no bigger than a thumb drive. She pressed the button. A faint green light blinked twice before turning red. Somewhere, miles away, a signal pinged in a secured operations room at Fort Bragg. Commander Claire. Hawthorne signal activated. The Delta Force commander who'd been missing for 2 weeks was now alive again on their grid. But back at the cabin, Tyrell stirred. His eyes snapped open. He saw the empty chair. "Where the hell is she?" he snarled. Claire turned, calm as the breeze. "Stretching my legs," she said. Tyrell stepped outside, rage in his face. "You try to run, I'll—" She interrupted him with a quiet, steady voice. "You'll what? Shoot me?" "You don't even have the safety off." He froze, glancing at his weapon. She smiled. "You really should check that." Before he could blink, she moved. One swift strike to his wrist sent the gun spinning into the dirt. A second later, she drove her knee into his chest, knocking the air from his lungs. He collapsed, stunned, gasping. The others burst through the door, shouting. Claire snatched the gun off the ground, flicked off the safety, and fired a warning shot into the air. "Sit down," she said, voice like steel. The forest went silent except for the echo of that single shot. Before anyone could move, headlights flared in the distance. The men froze. "Who's that?" one hissed. Claire's eyes narrowed. "That's the part you should be worried about, because the signal she'd sent hours ago wasn't just a beacon. It was a call for extraction, and Delta never showed up empty-handed." Tyrell staggered to his feet. "You brought them here?" She raised the gun. "You brought this on yourselves." He lunged for her. Too fast, too desperate, but she sidestepped, slammed her elbow into his spine, and swept his legs out from under him. He hit the ground hard. Mick panicked. "I gotta move." But it was too late. The forest exploded with blinding light and the sound of rotor blades thundering overhead. A helicopter roared low, floodlights cutting through the trees. Shouts echoed. "You! Special Operations! Drop your weapons!" The escaped prisoners froze, blinking into the light. Claire lowered her weapon and spoke into a tiny mic on her collar. "This is Hawthorne. Package secured." But as the commandos stormed in, one thing went wrong. A single flare fired from the tree line, followed by gunfire. A bullet grazed Claire's shoulder, sending her sprawling. Chaos erupted, and in that chaos Tyrell saw his chance. He grabbed Mick and dove through the back window, crashing into the woods as bullets sliced through the air. When the dust settled, 4 prisoners lay cuffed and screaming. Claire pressed a hand to her bleeding shoulder, jaw tight. "2 got away," she said into her comm. "Understood, Commander," came the reply. "We'll track them." Claire looked at the dark woods, where Tyrell and Mick had vanished into the night. Her eyes burned with focus. "Don't bother," she said quietly. "They're mine." She holstered her pistol, ignoring the pain in her arm. The soldiers exchanged glances. They all knew that tone, the one that meant vengeance had just become personal. Somewhere in the distance, the escaped fugitives crashed through branches, gasping, terrified, realizing too late that they hadn't just taken the wrong hostage. They had declared war on one of the most lethal soldiers in the world, and Commander Claire Hawthorne never lost a war.